Namo Buddhaya. Have you ever wondered what true love really means? Is it the butterflies in your stomach, or is there something deeper? Many of us chase affection, believing that love is about getting our needs met. But Buddhism teaches us a profound lesson. True love is not about taking, it's about giving. In this video, we'll dive deep into the Buddhist perspective on love, unravel the difference between love and attachment, and explore how you can cultivate compassion in your relationships to find lasting peace and fulfillment. The video begins with a reflection on the universality of love, how all beings seek it in some form. The speaker explains that true love, according to Buddhism, is built on kindness, compassion, and patience. It is not selfish, unlike attachment, where the focus shifts to personal satisfaction. True love is about wanting the other person to be happy, even if it doesn't benefit us. The example of a mother's love is used to illustrate this. A mother nurtures her child without expecting anything in return, an analogy that Buddhism encourages us to apply to all beings. Supreme Buddha's teachings emphasize spreading unconditional love, not just to close ones, but to everyone. In contrast, attachment is rooted in selfish desires and ultimately leads to suffering because it is about holding on tightly and expecting constant fulfillment from others. The speaker elaborates on the suffering caused by attachment. The metaphor of holding on to a rope tightly, likened to holding on to desires or expectations in a relationship, shows that attachment causes pain. The tighter you hold on, the more it hurts. True love, in contrast, allows freedom and is based on compassion, wanting the best for the other person without selfish desires. This Buddhist teaching on love versus attachment provides us with an incredibly valuable lens to examine our modern relationships. Often, we confuse attachment for love, especially in romantic partnerships. Think of how many relationships start with promises of forever, only to crumble under the weight of unfulfilled expectations. When we are attached, we demand happiness from others. We expect them to meet all our emotional needs. But is that fair? Let's think of an example. Imagine a couple where one partner constantly asks, "Why don't you make me happy?" versus a couple where the question is, "How can I make your life better?" The first scenario is draining, leading to constant dissatisfaction. The second approach, rooted in true love, brings joy because the focus shifts to giving, not taking. Buddhism teaches us that true love is about giving, not expecting. But it's important to realize that giving doesn't mean neglecting your own needs. True love is balanced. It's a two-way street where both partners feel uplifted. For example, in a healthy relationship, one might say, "I want you to be happy, even if that happiness doesn't always include me." This doesn't mean self-sacrifice. It means being compassionate, kind, and understanding enough to let go of possessiveness. This can be applied beyond romantic relationships, too. Think about friendships or family relationships. How many of us find ourselves frustrated because we expect too much from others? We demand loyalty, attention, and affection. But true love in Buddhism extends to all beings. It's about being there for people without keeping score. Here's a story to illustrate this idea. A friend of mine was deeply in love with someone who didn't always meet her emotional needs. She was constantly disappointed, asking why her partner didn't prioritize her feelings. Her attachment became a source of suffering. After learning about Buddhist teachings, she tried a new approach. Instead of demanding happiness, she began focusing on making her partner's life better. Over time, the dynamic shifted, and both of them felt more peaceful and fulfilled in their relationship. When she let go of attachment, she found true love. The teaching that stuck with her was the analogy of the flower. If you like a flower, you pluck it, but if you love a flower, you water and nurture it. This simple shift in mindset transformed how she approached relationships, no longer seeking to control or extract happiness, but instead nurturing and giving. In the end, the message is clear. True love is about compassion, not control. It's about letting go of expectations and giving without the need for anything in return. This doesn't mean being passive or accepting unbalanced relationships. It means fostering mutual respect and kindness. When we learn to love in this way, our relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, flourish. We can embrace others with the same unconditional love that a parent has for a child, as taught by the Buddha. True love brings peace, while attachment only brings suffering. By adopting the principles of true love in Buddhism, we can move beyond the superficial and into a deeper connection with those we care about, enriching our lives with compassion and wisdom. Namo Buddhaya. Imagine living a life where no matter how good or well-intentioned your actions are, people still find reasons to criticize you. Sounds familiar, right? Whether you're a high achiever, a kind-hearted person, or someone who's simply doing their best, criticism is inevitable. So, what should we do when people criticize us? How can we stay strong and not let their words bring us down? Stick around, because today we'll explore the profound Buddhist wisdom that teaches us how to navigate criticism with grace and peace. Buddhism teaches us that criticism is an unavoidable part of life. Whether you're doing something positive or groundbreaking, there will always be someone who disapproves. The Buddha himself encountered criticism throughout his journey. This is because people perceive things through their personal biases, sometimes leading them to misunderstand or even feel envious of your actions. We all want to be liked and accepted, but the truth is, no matter how noble our intentions, not everyone will understand or appreciate what we do. Criticism often says more about the critic than the person being criticized. People's comments are filtered through their own experiences, beliefs, and insecurities. That's why one of the first steps to dealing with criticism is understanding that it's not always a reflection of who you are, but of how the critic sees the world. In Buddhism, criticism can generally be divided into two types: constructive and negative. Constructive criticism comes from a place of care. These people genuinely want to see you grow and succeed. They might point out flaws or areas for improvement to help you become better. On the other hand, negative criticism often stems from misunderstanding, jealousy, or resentment. These critics seek to tear you down rather than build you up. It's crucial to differentiate between these two types of criticism. If someone offers feedback with love and sincerity, we should be open to it. However, if the criticism is toxic and baseless, rooted in envy or personal agendas, we need to protect ourselves from absorbing those negative energies. This brings to mind the old saying, "Not every opinion deserves your attention." Ask yourself, what is the intent behind the criticism? Is it to help you improve, or is it to make the critic feel better about themselves? Once you can discern this, your reactions become much clearer and more controlled. A famous Buddhist story illustrates how, no matter what you do, criticism is inevitable. During Buddha's time, a group of people visited a monastery and encountered 3 monks. The first monk was very silent and reserved, offering few words of wisdom. The visitors criticized him, saying he didn't know anything. They then went to the second monk, who spoke in complex, profound terms. They couldn't understand him and criticized him for making things too complicated. Finally, they met the third monk, who spoke in simple, easily understood terms. Yet, they criticized him for being too simplistic. This story highlights an important truth. No matter what you do, some people will find fault. The 3 monks, each with different teaching styles, were all criticized for opposite reasons. This is a powerful reminder that you cannot please everyone. Whether you're too quiet, too profound, or too simple, there will always be someone who disagrees with your approach. The key lesson here is not to take these criticisms personally. It's impossible to mold yourself into something that satisfies every single person's expectations. The monks were perplexed and sought the advice of the Buddha. The Buddha taught them that whether you remain silent, speak profound truths, or keep things simple, you will always be criticized. This is the nature of the world. No one in history has escaped criticism entirely. Therefore, the Buddha encouraged the monks to focus on their inner peace and continue doing good, regardless of the criticism they received. What the Buddha teaches here is timeless wisdom. Criticism is not something we can control, but we can control how we react to it. When you know that you're doing something beneficial for yourself and others, keep going. Don't let the fear of what others might say paralyze you. There's great power in trusting your path and intentions. This lesson has profound applications in today's world, where criticism, especially online, is rampant. With social media, it's easy to be bombarded with opinions from strangers, but their words should not dictate our self-worth or direction. In today's digital world, criticism is often amplified. Let's take an example of a content creator who posts their work on social media. For every positive comment, there might be a negative one, questioning the quality, the intent, or even the creator's character. In such cases, the Buddhist approach becomes even more valuable. By accepting that criticism is inevitable and separating constructive feedback from baseless negativity, the content creator can maintain their peace of mind and focus on creating without constantly seeking approval. When social media influencers, for instance, receive harsh feedback, it's important for them to remember this story of the 3 monks. Not everyone will resonate with what they create, and that's okay. The lesson here is to remain grounded in your purpose and not let the noise of the outside world deter your inner journey. How to apply this lesson in real life. When faced with criticism, ask yourself, is this constructive? Can I learn something from it? Does it align with my goals and values? If the answer is yes, use that criticism as a stepping stone for growth. If not, let it go. Don't allow it to pull you into a spiral of self-doubt. People will always have opinions, but their opinions are not your truth. The core lesson in this video is that criticism is inevitable, and we should not let it dictate our actions. If we are doing something good for ourselves and others, we must keep going, regardless of what others say. The beauty of this teaching lies in its simplicity. It frees us from the endless cycle of seeking validation from others. When you understand that criticism is a natural part of life, you can face it without fear or anxiety. Whether you're criticized for being too quiet, too profound, or too simple, remember the monks and their story. Continue on your path with confidence and compassion, knowing that the world will always have something to say, but your peace comes from within. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Imagine this. You're sitting alone, heart heavy with sorrow, wondering how you'll ever recover from the pain of losing someone you deeply cared for. Whether it's a breakup or the loss of a loved one, heartbreak can feel like an endless cycle of sadness. But what if I told you that healing from this heartache is not only possible, but it could also transform you into a stronger, more compassionate version of yourself? In today's video, we'll explore Buddhist wisdom on how to heal a broken heart and offer steps that will guide you through the emotional recovery process. This video isn't just about mending your heart. It's about finding peace, acceptance, and perhaps even a sense of purpose in the pain. The nature of heartbreak. Heartbreak is one of the most difficult experiences we can face. It stems from the deep emotional bonds we form with others. When those bonds are severed, whether through a breakup, death, or other forms of separation, our attachment to that person leads to immense pain. The Buddha wisely pointed out that attachment is the root of suffering, and in heartbreak, this truth is evident. Many people pretend they're okay after a heartbreak. They smile on the outside, but on the inside, they're falling apart. In the beginning, it's important to acknowledge the pain and allow yourself to grieve. The first step, let yourself cry. The video emphasizes that it's okay to cry, especially for men who often suppress their emotions. Crying is a natural release of the emotional pressure inside you. It's crucial to allow yourself to feel the pain. Society often tells us to move on or stay strong, but crying is a vital part of the healing process. Think of it as a form of detox for the soul. When tears fall, they wash away not just the sorrow, but also the built-up stress and anxiety. A specific example comes to mind. I once read about a man who went through a painful divorce. At first, he tried to hold it together, acting as if nothing had happened. But it wasn't until he allowed himself to cry, alone in his car, that he began to feel lighter, less burdened by his emotions. Let the tears flow. When we release our emotions, we are making space for healing. Even in the hardest moments, there is something beautiful about the vulnerability that comes with crying. It shows that we care deeply, and that's not a weakness. It's a strength. Find someone to share your pain. The second point in the video is to find someone you can trust to share your pain with. It's important to choose this person wisely, as negative people may fuel your anger or resentment rather than help you heal. Opening up to someone can feel like opening a wound, but it's necessary for healing. When you share your burden, it feels lighter. However, not everyone is the right person to confide in. Some people may unintentionally make things worse by validating negative emotions like hate or blame. For example, imagine sharing your heartbreak with a friend who starts criticizing your ex. Instead of helping you move on, they feed the cycle of negativity, deepening your attachment to anger rather than helping you find peace. On the other hand, talking to someone who listens without judgment can be transformative. It could be a family member, a mentor, or a therapist. These individuals help you process your feelings without pushing you in the wrong direction. They hold space for your pain, allowing you to vent and cry without the added weight of judgment or advice. The Buddhist perspective on attachment and true love. The Supreme Buddha taught that we must remember the impermanence of all things, including relationships. True love doesn't cause heartbreak. Attachment does. This is where Buddhist wisdom comes into play. We often confuse attachment with love. Attachment is rooted in the desire to hold on to someone forever, whereas true love allows the other person to come and go freely. When we cling to someone, expecting them to never leave, heartbreak becomes inevitable. I once read a story about a couple who had been married for 50 years. When asked how they stayed happy for so long, the husband said, "We never took each other for granted. We knew that one day either death or life would part us, and we cherished every moment." This Buddhist teaching is both liberating and comforting. When you truly love someone, you can let them go without falling apart. Your love isn't about possessing them. It's about appreciating them for who they are in the time that you have together. Prepare your mind for the impermanence of life. Preparing your mind for the impermanence of life doesn't mean becoming detached or cold. Instead, it's about accepting that change is a natural part of existence. It's the ultimate expression of wisdom. Once you come to terms with the fact that nothing lasts forever, the anxiety of losing something precious begins to fade. I remember a Zen monk saying that he often reflected on death, not to feel morbid, but to appreciate life more fully. It's the same with relationships. When we recognize that the people we love won't always be there, we cherish them even more deeply in the present moment. Reducing the power of past thoughts. The more attention you give to thoughts of the past, the more pain you feel. The video advises reducing the amount of attention you give to these thoughts. Our minds have a way of torturing us with memories, especially after a breakup. You find yourself replaying happy moments or conversations, wondering what went wrong. This is natural, but it's also a trap. The more you indulge in these memories, the harder it becomes to move forward. One technique I found helpful is mindfulness. Whenever you catch yourself drifting into painful memories, bring your attention back to the present. Engage in activities that ground you in the now, whether it's going for a walk, meditating, or even doing something creative like painting. Over time, the power of those memories will fade, and your focus will shift back to the present and future. Healing takes time. Patience is key. Healing from heartbreak is compared to healing a physical wound. It takes time, and you must be patient with yourself. Time doesn't heal all wounds, but it certainly provides the space needed for healing. Just as a physical wound needs a time to mend, so does your heart. And in that time, it's important to be gentle with yourself. Don't rush the process or expect to feel better overnight. I remember reading about someone who went through a breakup and, within a week, expected to be over it. When they weren't, they started feeling frustrated with themselves. But healing isn't a linear process. Some days you'll feel better, and others you'll feel like you've regressed. This is normal. Patience, as they say, is a virtue, especially when it comes to emotional healing. Heartbreak, as painful as it is, can be one of life's greatest teachers. It teaches us the value of true love versus attachment, the importance of emotional expression, and the impermanence of all things. As we navigate through heartbreak, we also learn resilience, compassion, and self-awareness. So, if you're going through a heartbreak right now, take heart. This pain will pass. And when it does, You'll emerge stronger, wiser, and more open to the possibilities of life. Cry when you need to. Share your pain with those who truly listen. Reflect on the impermanence of life. Reduce the power of past thoughts, and most importantly, be patient with yourself. The seeds of your future happiness are being planted with each tear you shed. When you are heartbroken, cry, forgive, learn from your experiences, and let your tears water the seeds of your future happiness. Namo Buddhaya. We live in a world where appearance often dictates how we're perceived. Billions are spent on skin care, cosmetics, and treatments, all in the pursuit of beauty. We scroll through social media, marveling at flawless faces and perfect bodies. But is this really where beauty begins and ends? Buddhism offers a different perspective. According to the teachings of the Supreme Buddha, true beauty isn't just skin deep. It radiates from within, and it all starts with a simple practice: loving kindness. Imagine if instead of spending money on expensive treatments, we could transform our outer appearance through inner peace. Sounds unbelievable, right? But there's ancient wisdom that backs this idea. The Buddha himself revealed that practicing kindness could actually improve not only our mood, but our physical appearance as well. This is no mere myth. There's a deeper connection between our thoughts and the way we look, and I'm excited to explore that connection with you today. Most people focus only on skin-deep beauty. That's understandable. After all, we are visual creatures. But think about it. How long does outer beauty last? 50 years, maybe 60 if we're lucky. Time has its way with all of us. Wrinkles, gray hair, and other signs of aging are inevitable. But what if there's a form of beauty that defies time? The Supreme Buddha identified two types of beauty. The first, and most commonly pursued, is physical beauty. This is what most of us chase. But the second is much more enduring. It's the beauty of the heart. Inner beauty, cultivated through kindness, lasts longer than any cream or surgery could promise. Even better, it's free. We've all met people who may not be considered conventionally attractive, yet they have a certain glow about them. Their faces light up when they smile, and their kindness radiates from their eyes. This is the result of cultivating loving kindness. It's a form of beauty that transcends age, race, and cultural ideals. Consider a time when you've been extremely stressed or anxious. Didn't it show on your face? Maybe your skin broke out, or you noticed dark circles under your eyes. Our thoughts have a significant impact on our outer appearance. When we harbor negative emotions, anger, jealousy, or hatred, it manifests physically. On the other hand, when we cultivate kindness and peace, it reflects positively. For example, there's a well-documented phenomenon where people who meditate regularly, especially on loving kindness, often exhibit healthier, more vibrant skin. This isn't just some mystical concept. It's backed by science. Loving kindness meditation lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that can wreak havoc on our skin and overall appearance. By reducing stress and increasing positive emotions, we can create a healthier, more attractive version of ourselves. Here's a real-world example. Think of someone who constantly carries a scowl on their face. Over time, their facial muscles adapt to this negativity, and their expressions reflect it. Contrast this with someone who practices kindness daily, someone who smiles often and expresses joy. Their facial muscles naturally soften, making them more approachable and, in many cases, more attractive. So, how exactly does one practice loving kindness, and how can it lead to a more beautiful life? The beauty secret revealed by the Buddha is not found in any external product. It lies within the mind. It begins with developing a mindset of love and kindness toward oneself and others. The practice of loving-kindness meditation involves sitting quietly and focusing on generating feelings of compassion and goodwill. It starts with yourself. May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be free from suffering. Gradually, you expand this circle of kindness to include loved ones, acquaintances, and even those you might consider enemies. This practice works wonders not only for your mental health, but also for your appearance. As your heart becomes more peaceful, your face reflects this inner state. There's an unmistakable softness that comes with inner peace, a radiance that no amount of money can buy. The science behind loving kindness and beauty research shows that loving kindness meditation doesn't just change your mind, it changes your body. Studies conducted at various universities have found that people who regularly engage in this practice experience lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. This reduced stress leads to lower cortisol levels, which can positively affect skin health, weight, and even immune function. For example, a study published in the journal Psychoneuroendocrinology demonstrated that individuals who practiced loving-kindness meditation for 8 weeks showed a significant reduction in the biological markers of aging. This was compared to a control group that did not practice meditation, whose stress levels and signs of aging remained unchanged. If you're seeking that elusive fountain of youth, perhaps the answer isn't in a jar of cream, but rather in your ability to nurture positive thoughts and emotions. Real beauty is a reflection of inner peace. One of the most remarkable transformations I have seen comes from a close friend of mine who struggled with low self-esteem and body image issues for years. She spent a fortune on skincare products, makeup, and treatments, yet she was never satisfied with how she looked. Then, she discovered the practice of loving-kindness meditation. Over time, as she practiced this meditation daily, something magical happened. She began to look different. It wasn't that her skin changed overnight, but her attitude did. She smiled more, carried herself with more confidence, and her facial expressions softened. Her friends began commenting on how radiant she looked, and people at work started asking her what skincare routine she was using. The truth was, it wasn't a product that had transformed her. It was her mind. Summary lesson: cultivate inner peace to reflect outer beauty. The takeaway here is simple yet profound. Real beauty comes from within. While it's perfectly fine to take care of your skin and appearance, remember that these things are temporary. The practice of loving kindness, however, has the power to create lasting beauty that transcends age and outward appearance. In a world obsessed with physical perfection, the Buddha's teachings remind us that true beauty is a reflection of inner peace. By cultivating kindness, we not only improve our emotional well-being, but also radiate a glow that no product can replicate. So, next time you look in the mirror, ask yourself, am I nurturing the beauty of my heart as well as my skin? Final thoughts: a timeless beauty secret. As you go about your daily life, remember the simple yet powerful secret that the Buddha shared. Beauty is born from kindness. Whether you're stressed, overwhelmed, or simply searching for a way to enhance your appearance, start with your heart. Practice loving kindness, and watch as it transforms not just your mind, but your entire being. True beauty isn't found in the latest trend or product. It's found in your ability to love and be kind. Let this ancient wisdom guide you toward a more beautiful, peaceful, and fulfilling life. Namo Buddhaya. Are you feeling lonely? That emptiness, that sense that nobody cares? What if I told you that loneliness could actually be your greatest opportunity for personal growth? Today, let's uncover how to turn the pain of loneliness into the peaceful state of solitude, using timeless Buddhist wisdom. Loneliness is a universal experience, and for many of us it comes when we least expect it. Whether it's after a breakup, losing a loved one, or simply when the friends who were once close drift away, suddenly we're left with a void. This void, often filled with sadness or even despair, can feel unbearable. But why do we feel lonely in the first place? The answer lies in how we relate to others. We often tie our happiness to the presence of others, depending on them for joy, support, and validation. When they're gone, we lose the very source of our happiness. We hand over the keys to our emotional well-being, and when people walk away, it feels like we're locked out of our own sense of fulfillment. However, what if I told you that loneliness isn't an enemy? What if it could be a friend, offering you a precious gift, the gift of time to reconnect with yourself? To understand how loneliness can transform into something positive, let's first draw a distinction between two states: loneliness and solitude. While loneliness brings with it the longing for someone else to fill our emotional cup, solitude is the art of filling that cup on our own. In Buddhist practice, solitude is cherished as a time for deep reflection and inner growth. Instead of waiting for external sources of happiness, those who practice solitude focus on cultivating happiness from within. The Buddha often spoke about the importance of solitude, particularly for monks on the path to enlightenment. He taught that being alone isn't inherently negative. In fact, solitude can help you discover deeper truths about yourself and the world around you. When you aren't distracted by external relationships or societal pressures, you have the space to explore your mind, meditate, and develop wisdom. Let's explore an example from the life of Buddha himself. Before achieving enlightenment, the Buddha, then known as the Bodhisattva, practiced extreme forms of self-discipline and meditation. For 6 long years, he pursued rigorous physical hardships, believing that these efforts would lead him to enlightenment. During this time, he was accompanied by 5 disciples who admired his dedication. But when the Buddha realized that extreme self-mortification wasn't the path to enlightenment, he decided to nourish his body, breaking his fast and eating food to regain physical strength. His disciples, disillusioned by this change, abandoned him, convinced he had forsaken the path to enlightenment. Alone in the jungle, without the support of his followers, the Buddha could have easily felt lonely, despondent, and lost. But instead, he embraced this solitude. Rather than feeling abandoned, the Buddha saw this period of being alone as an opportunity. With no distractions, he could focus fully on his meditation. It was in this moment of solitude, freed from the expectations of others, that the Buddha found the clarity he needed to attain enlightenment. Most of us aren't striving for enlightenment like the Buddha, but his story offers a powerful lesson. When we are alone, we have a unique opportunity to focus on self-development. Instead of feeling abandoned or helpless, we can turn inward and ask ourselves what we need to grow. When you are lonely, ask yourself, how can I use this time to better myself? Can I develop a new habit? Cultivate a new skill? Meditate? Read books that inspire me? Exercise? In these moments, solitude becomes a gift. It offers you the time and space to reflect on your own life, desires, and goals. This is the heart of Buddhist teachings, learning to find peace and happiness within yourself, regardless of external circumstances. One of the most transformative practices you can engage in during moments of loneliness is meditation. Meditation allows you to go inward, confront your feelings of loneliness, and understand them. Through regular practice, you can develop a sense of peace that isn't dependent on others. In solitude, your mind has the opportunity to quiet down. You're no longer bombarded with distractions, conversations, or the expectations of others. Instead, you can listen to your own inner wisdom. Through meditation, you begin to realize that happiness isn't something you seek from others. It's something you cultivate within yourself. Let me share a personal example. A few years ago, I went through a phase of deep loneliness. After the end of a long relationship, I found myself feeling empty and lost. The house felt too quiet. The friends I once relied on seemed distant. In that silence, the loneliness was overwhelming. But rather than wallow in self-pity, I decided to use that time to focus on myself. I began practicing meditation daily, going on long walks and reflecting on what I wanted from life. In that solitude, I discovered strengths I never knew I had. It was during this time that I made some of the most important decisions of my life. Decisions that wouldn't have been possible if I had remained distracted by social engagements or relationships. Practical steps to turn loneliness into solitude. If you find yourself feeling lonely, here are some practical steps to transform that feeling into productive solitude. Meditate daily. Start with just 10 minutes a day. Focus on your breath, observe your thoughts, and let them pass without judgment. Engage in self-care. Use this time to nourish your body and mind, whether it's through exercise, healthy eating, or simply taking care of your mental health. Self-care is essential. Create a routine. Establishing a daily routine can give you a sense of purpose. This could include hobbies, creative projects, or personal goals. Reflect on your goals. Use solitude to think deeply about what you want to achieve in life. Write down your goals and create a plan to work toward them. In the end, loneliness doesn't have to be a source of pain. Instead, it can be the very thing that leads you to greater self-awareness, wisdom, and inner peace. By embracing solitude, you gain the freedom to grow into the person you are meant to be, without relying on others to make you happy. Remember, solitude isn't about isolation. It's about reconnecting with yourself, finding joy in your own company, and discovering that everything you need is already within you. So, the next time you feel lonely, remember, this is your opportunity. Use it wisely, embrace it fully, and in doing so, you will transform your life in ways you never thought possible. Lesson to take away. Loneliness may feel like a burden, but it can be transformed into a powerful tool for self-growth. Through solitude, you find your true self and realize that happiness comes from within, not from others. Namo Buddhaya. Have you ever found yourself waking up between 3 and 5 in the morning, only to wonder why? It's not just a coincidence. There's something deeper at play here. Many people report feeling a sense of uneasiness, curiosity, or even anxiety during these nocturnal awakenings. Could it be a sign from the universe or a reflection of your inner emotional world? Stay with us, and you'll discover that waking up at these early hours could be a profound spiritual experience, an invitation to grow mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. By the end of this video, you'll see how to turn these moments of waking into powerful opportunities for self-discovery and growth. Night awakenings in Eastern medicine. According to Eastern medicine, waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. is often connected with emotional and physical imbalances. This period is associated with the lungs, representing grief or sadness. Therefore, these wake-up moments could be telling you that there are deep emotional wounds that need healing. Buddhist wisdom on night awakenings. Buddhist teachings us that waking up at night is not just a random occurrence. Instead, it's an invitation to practice mindfulness and compassion. These moments offer a quiet space free from distractions, where one can reflect on emotions, thoughts, and spiritual growth. Ancient Buddhist masters used these periods to deepen their meditation practice, turning them into powerful tools for understanding the mind and soul. Stress and anxiety connection. The body releases cortisol, a stress hormone, naturally during these early hours. When daily stress levels are high, they can trigger nocturnal awakenings. This is why you may wake up between 3 and 5 a.m. if you have been feeling stressed or anxious. Spiritual practice and connection. In Eastern spiritual traditions, early morning hours are considered a time for divine connection. Many spiritual practitioners believe that waking up during this time offers a chance for deep meditation, prayer, and spiritual realizations. It's a quiet, sacred time to connect with your inner self. Physical disorders. Some physical issues, like acid reflux or sleep apnea, can cause these awakenings as well. Eastern medicine offers remedies, but if persistent, seeing a doctor is advisable. Dreams and the subconscious. Carl Jung's analytical psychology aligns with ancient Zen wisdom, suggesting that waking up during this time allows the subconscious to communicate through dreams and awakenings. Keeping a dream journal can help you interpret these messages and integrate them into your spiritual growth. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive deeper into the meaning of these early morning wake-up calls. It's important to understand that these moments are not just physical events. They carry a spiritual and emotional significance that can guide us toward a better understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., a time for healing. Many people wake up during this time feeling unsettled, but what if I told you that this might be your body's way of telling you something? In traditional Chinese medicine, each time of day is connected to a specific organ and its corresponding emotion. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. relates to the lungs, which represent grief. Perhaps there is unresolved sadness, loss, or disappointment that is surfacing, asking you to confront and heal it. This time can be an opportunity to release emotional baggage. How often do we push down our emotions, thinking we've moved on from a situation, only to realize later that those feelings are still influencing us? Waking up at these early hours could be your body's way of saying, it's time to heal. From my experience, practicing mindfulness and meditation before bed is a powerful tool to manage these emotions. Spend at least 10 minutes sitting in silence, breathing deeply, and acknowledging whatever emotions come up. This simple act of mindfulness can create a sense of calm that allows you to rest more peacefully. A spiritual invitation. Nighttime awakenings as a call to reflection. Buddhism teaches us that every moment, even those in the stillness of the night, holds the potential for mindfulness and compassion. When you wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, think of it as a moment that invites you to look within. It's a unique time when the world is quiet and your mind is free from the distractions of the day. You are left with nothing but your thoughts, emotions, and, most importantly, your inner self. During one period of my life, I went through a phase of waking up at precisely 3:30 a.m. every morning. At first, I felt frustrated, unsure of why this was happening. But then, I began using these moments to meditate. I found that my mind was much more focused in the early hours of the morning. My thoughts were clearer, and I began to notice patterns, fears, worries, and even hidden hopes that had been buried during the busyness of the day. These nocturnal awakenings, as inconvenient as they might seem, are gifts. They give you a chance to explore your mental and emotional landscape without the usual noise. The next time you find yourself awake during these hours, try to embrace it. Sit in silence, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, what is my mind trying to tell me? You might be surprised by the insights that emerge. The stress connection. Why your day affects your night. It's no secret that stress and anxiety can disrupt your sleep. During the hours of 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., your body is naturally predisposed to release cortisol, the hormone associated with stress. If your stress levels are already high from the day, it can cause these early morning awakenings. It's almost as if your body is trying to process the stress in small doses. I used to think that my nighttime wake-ups were purely random, but once I started paying attention to my stress levels, the pattern became clear. On days when I was overwhelmed with work or personal challenges, I would wake up at 4 a.m. feeling restless. It was as if my body was saying, "Hey, you didn't deal with this today, so now you have to face it." One way to manage this is through a bedtime routine that helps you unwind. Before you go to sleep, take some time to journal about your day. Write down anything that's been bothering you, and then let it go. You can even try a quick 5-minute meditation session where you focus on deep breathing and muscle relaxation. These small steps can make a big difference in how peacefully you sleep. Tapping into spiritual energy. The divine connection. In many Eastern spiritual traditions, the early morning hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. are considered sacred. This is a time when the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds is thin, making it easier to connect with your inner self or a higher power. I've found that this time is perfect for meditation or prayer. There's a deep sense of stillness and peace that is hard to find at any other time of day. Waking up during this time could be an invitation from your spirit to connect more deeply. Instead of tossing and turning, why not use these moments for spiritual practice? Whether it's through prayer, meditation, or simple reflection, these early hours can become a time of spiritual growth and awakening. Physical causes. When to seek medical help. Of course, not every nocturnal awakening has a spiritual or emotional cause. Physical conditions such as acid reflux, insomnia, or sleep apnea can also be responsible. If you suspect that a medical issue is behind your wake-ups, it's important to seek professional advice. While Eastern medicine offers remedies for some of these issues, such as herbal treatments or acupuncture, I always recommend seeing a doctor to rule out any serious health concerns. Getting to the root of the problem can improve your sleep quality and overall well-being. Listening to your subconscious. Messages from dreams. Both ancient Zen wisdom and the teachings of Carl Jung suggest that the early hours of the morning are a time when the subconscious mind is most active. Dreams during this time may carry significant messages or insights about your emotional state, relationships, or life challenges. Have you ever woken up after a vivid dream, only to forget it moments later. Keeping a dream journal by your bedside can help you capture these unconscious messages. From personal experience, I've found that my most insightful dreams come to me between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. When I started writing them down, patterns began to emerge, recurring themes that helped me understand my inner world more clearly. Sometimes these dreams point to unresolved issues in my waking life, while other times they offer solutions to problems I hadn't even considered. So, what can we learn from waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m.? These moments are much more than just a disruption to your sleep. They are opportunities to heal emotionally, grow spiritually, and understand yourself on a deeper level. Whether it's a sign to address hidden grief, manage your stress, or tap into your spiritual energy, these nocturnal awakenings are invitations to live a more mindful and authentic life. Next time you find yourself awake in the early hours, don't resist it. Embrace it. Take a moment to sit quietly, breathe deeply, and listen to what your body and mind are telling you. This quiet time could hold the key to your next stage of personal and spiritual growth. Remember, your journey towards inner peace and spiritual fulfillment often begins in the stillness of the night. Embrace it, and let these early morning moments guide you toward greater awareness and understanding. Namo Buddhaya. Monks live by habits that shape their lives, allowing them to achieve calm, happiness, and fulfillment. Ever wonder how some people seem to accomplish extraordinary things with ease, while others struggle? Many call it luck or skill, but at the core of their success are consistent daily habits. In this video, a Buddhist monk reveals 5 transformative habits applicable to anyone that can drastically improve your life. Personal input. Right from the beginning, the video grabs attention by posing a common question. How do some people seem to effortlessly thrive? This resonates deeply with viewers who might be struggling with daily life, sparking curiosity and prompting them to keep watching for actionable answers. Habit 1. Morning Gratitude Practice. The first habit is practicing morning gratitude. Monks begin each day by reflecting on 3 key aspects: the Buddha, his teachings, Dhamma, and the monastic community, Sangha. They also express gratitude for those who support them with food, and even for challenges and difficult people, as these experiences strengthen their patience and mental resilience. Gratitude is transformative, not just for monks, but for everyone. Starting your day by expressing thanks for even the smallest things can shift your perspective. For instance, when you encounter difficult coworkers or situations, view them as opportunities to build patience. You don't need to be in a monastery to benefit from this. Imagine waking up each morning and listing 3 things you're thankful for. Over time, this small practice will enhance your mental health and emotional strength. Example: I've personally found that by practicing morning gratitude, I handle stressful workdays with more grace. I encourage viewers to try it for just 1 week and notice the shift in how they face challenges. Habit 2. Morning Meditation. Monks emphasize morning meditation because the early hours offer a peaceful environment and a calm mind. The video explains how monks practice love and kindness meditation, mindfulness, or breathing meditation, setting a positive tone for the rest of the day. Meditation isn't just for monks. It's a powerful tool for anyone. You don't need hours, even 10 minutes can be transformative. Early mornings are ideal because of the quietude. both externally and internally. Try starting your day with a brief mindfulness exercise, focusing on your breath. This creates mental clarity and sets you up for a stress-free day. Example: a friend of mine, initially skeptical about meditation, started a 5-minute morning routine. Within a month, she reported feeling less anxious and more focused throughout her day. Habit 3. Journaling. Journaling is another daily practice for monks. They use it to review their actions, reflect on their behavior, and note what they're grateful for. This habit fosters self-awareness and a deeper sense of appreciation for life. Journaling doesn't have to be a time-consuming task. Start small. Maybe jot down 3 things you accomplished that day, or 3 things that went well. This practice helps you focus on your growth rather than your shortcomings. By consistently reviewing your days, you'll notice patterns that highlight what's truly important to you. Over time, journaling becomes a space for self-reflection and improvement. Example: I've found that writing even a few lines before bed helps me process the day and mentally prepare for the next. I've seen significant improvements in my mood and productivity after making this a regular practice. Habit 4. Mindful eating. Monks eat mindfully, focusing on the texture, taste, and purpose of their food. They reflect on the spiritual purpose of nourishment, savoring each bite with awareness. In our fast-paced world, mindful eating is often overlooked. We rush through meals, often while multitasking. Try slowing down during your next meal. Savor each bite. Reflect on the flavors and textures. This small act can make eating a meditative experience, improving digestion and cultivating a sense of gratitude for the nourishment you receive. Example: once I started practicing mindful eating, not only did I enjoy my food more, but I also found myself eating less and feeling more satisfied. It's a simple practice that encourages mindfulness and presence, even in the busiest of days. Habit 5. Planning your day. The final habit monks recommend is daily planning. By prioritizing important tasks, especially the most difficult ones, monks maintain mental clarity and focus throughout the day. This habit allows them to accomplish their spiritual and personal goals without feeling overwhelmed. Planning your day, even loosely, can give you a sense of control and reduce stress. The key is prioritizing your most important tasks early in the day when your energy levels are high. Start by writing down just 3 major goals for the day. This simple strategy boosts productivity and prevents you from being overwhelmed by the endless list of things to do. Example: I've implemented this habit myself, and it's drastically improved my productivity. By tackling the most challenging tasks first, I feel a sense of accomplishment that motivates me for the rest of the day. By incorporating these 5 simple habits into your daily routine: gratitude, meditation, journaling, mindful eating, and daily planning, you can bring more peace, focus, and happiness into your life. The monk concludes by emphasizing that everyone has 24 hours in a day. It's all about how you organize those hours that determines your quality of life. The essence of these habits is mindfulness and intentional living. In a world that often feels chaotic, these practices offer structure and peace. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight. Start with one habit and slowly incorporate the others. Over time, these small habits will lead to significant transformation.